was broken. I admit it. I faced it. I got support. I did the work. I kept going. I changed my patterns. I built something new. I honored my journey in every hard step, every choice, every moment. Last week, we talked about being the messenger and about staying visible, about refusing to hide. But this week, we're going deeper. We're talking about the actual journey from broken to unbroken. Not the destination, not the highlight reel, but the actual work. Because being a messenger isn't just about showing people who you are now. It's about showing them what it takes to get there. It's about being honest about the work, the struggle, the choice, and the transform. And that's what we're diving in today. Welcome to the Season of Self-Love Podcast. I am your host, Nyomi Banks, and I am so glad that you are here. As we continue to transform in life, so does this podcast. In Season 5, we're moving differently, more intentional, more action, less learning, more doing, less waiting, and more living. This is a space where we don't just talk about self-love, we practice it. We don't just discuss transformation, we live it. Every episode is an invitation to do the work with me, not just listen to me talk about it. This podcast is brought to you by Ask Nyomi and Elevate Me Self-Discovery, where we believe that loving yourself intentionally is a foundation of true transformation. So get ready, get your journal, get your pen, because in Season 5, we're doing the work together. Now let's get started. All right, my beautiful people, again, welcome to the Season of Self-Love Podcast. I'm your host, Nyomi Banks, and before we dive into teaching, let's ground ourselves today with the next 60-second guided meditation. All right, so today we are honoring the journey from broken to unbroken. So wherever you are right now, if you can close your eyes if you can and get comfortable. I want you to take a deep breath in. Now slowly release. And now I want you to say to yourself, I honor every step of my journey. Inhale. Exhale. The broken parts taught me. The healing parts strengthened me. Inhale. Exhale. Now say, I didn't waste my pain. I transformed it. Inhale. Exhale. I am unbroken because I am willing to do the work. One more breath in. Release. And when you are ready, gently open your eyes. All right. All right, my beautiful people, if you are new here to the Season of Self-Love Podcast, it's something we do every episode just to ground ourselves before we get into the topic at hand. All right, y'all. So let me talk about what the journey actually looks like, because there's a narrative that says transformation is clean, that you wake up one day, you make a choice, and boom, you are transformed. But that is not real. The real journey comes from broken to unbroken. It's messy, it's hard, and it's nonlinear, and it requires something most people are ready to give, and that's honest work. So what broken really means. First, let's talk about what broken means and what it doesn't. All right. So broken isn't weakness. Broken isn't weakness. Broken is what happens when life breaks you open. When you survive something that cracks you. When you're carrying weight that bends you, when you are living in a system or in a relationship or industry or a belief that hurts you. And broken is real. And the first step for broken is to be unbroken. And it's admitting it. Not hiding it, not pretending, not, oh, I'm fine. but honest. But honest. I'm broken and I need help. That is where transformation begins. You see, the work, what it actually takes is about what your journey looks like. It's not just one moment. It's a series of choices that we make. So say for choice one, it's about facing your truth. You have to look at what is broke in you. You have to look at what is broken you, but you have to look at what broke you. What broke you? Don't avoid it, not to minimize it, and not to reframe it, but look at it. Look at the abuse. Look at the betrayal. Look at the choices you made that hurt you. And then look at the systems that harm you. This is hard. This is hard. Because often you've spent years not looking. You built walls. You created distractions. You numbed yourself. And now you have to feel it. You know, the second choice that you have is getting support. You can't do this alone. Real transformation requires help. Therapy, coaching, community, spiritual guidance, friends who tell you the truth. I mean, you have to be willing to be vulnerable with somebody. You have to. You have to let them see the broken parts, your broken parts. You have to let them help you to heal. You know, and that is terrifying. It is. But it's so necessary. Can't do it alone. And then your choice 3 is doing the healing work. That is where it gets real. That is where you have to do the work. Therapy sessions where you cry and you are feeling things. Feeling the things that you've been avoiding. Journaling through the trauma. Setting boundaries with people you love. And making the hard choices. And saying goodbye to those things that no longer serve you. Forgiving the people, including yourself. And this right here, this isn't passive. This is active when you do that. This is showing up week after week, doing the work even when it's hard. Even when it's hard. Even when you want to quit. And also even when you don't see the progress, you keep going. And choice 4 is changing your patterns. Breaking patterns, they are very, very hard because patterns make you feel like you're comfortable because they are comfortable. They are familiar. They are what you know, but they're also what keeps you broken. So you have to interrupt it. You have to notice when you are repeating an old pattern and make a different choice over and over and over again until that new pattern becomes the comfortable one. And then choice 5 is building something new. You just don't remove what was broken. You build something new relationships, new beliefs about yourself, new ways of being, new boundaries, new standards, new community. You can't just be not broken. You have to be unbroken. And that means actively building something. Actively building something. You know what's so ironic about this is that earlier this week, I had went back to Change Your Paradigm, Change Your Life by Bob Proctor. And I actually had received the email from the company that he owned with his partner. And I hadn't received the email at all from them. I think I signed up for them probably about 2 years ago, and I hadn't received anything. And when that email came across, and I said, whoa, is this a sign for me to go back and listen, go back and read this book again? Because I want to be honest with you, after I finished the app and had it, launched and everything like that, I felt just a little, I don't want to say stuck, because it wasn't a stuck, it was like a more a hesitation on moving forward with something. And I felt, and I'm just going to be real with you all, I felt something like an old pattern sneaking up, just sneaking up on me. And when you feel something like, hold on, something ain't right. Something is not right. And I had to go back and start listening to it again. Um, and I said, okay, I'm going to begin to do my 30 days of listening to Change Your Paradigm, Change Your Life. Because this is one of the times that even though I have accomplished a lot this year, and I'm very grateful for everything that I accomplished that's happening for me and that I see in fruition. But then there's still a part of me, and this is the human nature of us all, is that I felt like, I'm feeling some type of way that's not having me stuck, but having me hesitant on some things, and I wonder why. I'm feeling like an old pattern is coming back, so I need to check that. What I love about me going through this journey, this healing journey, this self-love journey, is that I can now recognize when that is happening, and I can take action on it. I can take action on it, and I now have the tools to do so. And so when that happened, I said, okay, do I share this with my listeners? Do I share them that I went back to Bob Proctor and do it? And I say, yeah, you know what I'm going to do in the next few months, I want to do another challenge, another, you know, either a 10 or a 20 or 30-day challenge. I haven't figured it out yet, but I'm going to try that. I'm going to do it. I'm not saying, let me take that try out. I'm going to do. I'm going to do it, and I'm going to invite you all along with me once again, where we, take our time and read chapter to chapter, and we conversate again, and then we celebrate at the end of it. Because I think it was something, matter of fact, this morning, I had stopped listening to it at where he was saying how you read a book over and over again, over and over again. You continue to read a book over and over again because you're trying to be repetitive and you're trying to get familiar with that book. But also for me, it's a reminder. Even though I've grown so much since the first time that we read that book, and remember, I went on a 90-day thing with it, a 90-day of reading, and me and my sister was being accountable for one another with it. But that was almost 2 years ago. It was almost 2 years ago. Yeah. And it's so many things have changed in my life, and so I said it's time for me to go back and just, refresh myself and reset. And I actually had an opportunity to go to the ocean this past weekend, which was amazing. I got to go help a good friend of mine back in LA, where she's moving to a new chapter in her life. And I remember calling her and said, you know what, I want to stay an extra day. I want to stay an extra day because I want you and I to go to the ocean. I want us to go to the beach. And she said, really? I said, yes, I want us to go to the beach because I want us both to give thanks and gratitude to California, because we both moved to California and we both have done some amazing things in life, different, but it's also helped to create and move us forward into our next chapter in life. And so for us to truly be able to do the amazing things that are waiting for us there in our new life, whether it's Las Vegas, where it's Atlanta, wherever, that we have to show gratitude and we have to release. We have to release what we learned and what does no longer align with us in California. The one thing is that I didn't have the opportunity when I left California 8 years ago. I didn't have the opportunity to do it. I knew why I didn't have the opportunity to do it, because I didn't know that I needed to do it. But then when I think about it now, yes, I do. Not that I'm not going to ever go back and visit California, but I know that spiritually, emotionally, there was something that was still tying me down there, and I need to release it. And that is what we did this weekend. And I thank my girlfriend for trusting me. This baby, this is like my sis, my girl. And she said, okay, Nate, what we doing, sis? What we doing? I said, yes, we doing that. We're thanking the home that you were in. We're thanking all of these things, and then we're going to release. So then when you move into your new space and your new chapter in your life, you're going with it clean. You're going to that next chapter. You're letting everything go, and you're only taking what aligns with who you are becoming now. And when I said, it's not just for you, this is for me too, because this is something long overdue that I should have done. And so when I think about coming from broken to unbroken, when I moved from Chicago to LA, I was still broken. I didn't become unbroken until I got right here in Las Vegas. And I needed to come here to understand what that meant for me, my family, my community. And so when I talk about it, I'm not just talking about what I wrote and what I'm reading. I'm talking about what I lived and what I'm living right now. And so this goes on to the next that I'm talking about, the timeline, because it's not quick. When we're talking about what real transformation, it takes time, not days, not weeks, not months, often years. Now, you just heard me say, I moved away from California 8 years ago. 8 years ago. And I said, I'm going to go back to the ocean. And I'm going to thank California, thank the land, thank the state that allowed me to create Nyomi Banks in this platform. But there's things that I need to leave behind and let go and release in California, so I am able to truly elevate and grow in Las Vegas and whatever state, country that I go to next. So I can truly be unbroken. But not only that there will be no more hesitation. Because I do understand that transformation does not happen overnight. It does not happen overnight. It takes years of therapy. It takes years of coaching. It takes years of making hard choices. It takes years of setting boundaries, years of building community, and years in just believing in myself when it was hard. But here's also what I realized. Every year of work was worth it, because now I am not just surviving, I am thriving. I'm not just managing my pain, I am using it to serve others. I'm not just fixed, I am transformed. I am transformed. But what makes someone willing to do this work? Because it's not for everybody. Not everybody does this work. Some people stay broken their whole lives. And not because they are weak, but because transformation requires something that they're not willing to give. So what makes someone willing? Is it desperation? Sometimes you broken, and just that staying broken costs more than the healing. Just this past Thursday, we had a conversation about eroticism. And it was a question that was posed by one of the listeners that said about if, or was it, it was actually Dog Pound Mike had asked me a question about what if, and excuse me when I say this, he said, what if you and your partner was watching adult video, or was watching porn, and one of them liked it, and the other one did not enjoy it. And right before that he said, what do you do? And I said, that is where you truly have to have a conversation, a real conversation. Because in that sense, when you see that there might be a lack of compatibility. And if you would have done your work self, you would have expressed that before. You all might not be together. When you do your work, when you do your self-love work, and I explained this on the podcast last Thursday, is that's why a lot of people are scared to do the work, is because it will show you, it will be revealed to you what is no longer aligned with who you are becoming. Because you are going to be so self-aware of any and everything that is best for your life. Those conversations will change. Those emotional things will change. And those same conversations will not look the same. And so what do? Do you continue to be around in these situations trying to force it? Or are you going to truly be your authentic self and be in a community, or build a community that you could all be your authentic self? And sometimes people are scared. So sometimes people were like, you know what, I'm going to stay broken. Because I don't want to be healing alone. I don't want to be by myself. So I don't even know, I'm not going to do the work. I'm going to be all right. But are you? Are you? You know, some people will say, this is me. My broken is killing me. And I got desperate enough to change. That's when you start to make that decision, when it's like, okay, hold on. This is killing me. I got to change. And I hope a lot of people say, Nyomi, when was your turning point? When you say I had to change? And I'm going to be very honest. It happened about 14, almost 15 years ago. And I was pregnant with my last baby, with my baby girl. And I had all of my hair shaved off. I cut all my hair off because I wanted to start anew. But I was on bed rest the whole entire time. So while I was on bed rest I had on bed rest with my feet elevated. I used to go to work at Sirius Radio, Playboy Radio, and I'll be laid across and my feet be elevated up, and my producers, they'll be on there, talking, helping me out with that, because I didn't even talk long. I was out of breath. But in that moment, I knew that God had something else for me. Because if you remember the story that I told you, I used to drive to set every day. Every morning that I had to go to set, every day, I would be in my car and I would pray to ask God that whenever you tell me when it's time to go, I will go. And being pregnant with my baby girl, when it was told to me after my second baby over 10 years ago that I could not have any babies unless, and that's not 100%, unless I go through the procedures again of fertility and taking shots and doing all of these things. And I ain't done none of that. And so I knew that this last baby was a miracle, but also that was telling me, okay, time to get out. And then it was a whole bunch of things that was going on in the industry at that time too, that I could have possibly been caught up in that. And so all of this thing was a protection for me, that I had asked God to protect me through this all. And so when I created my prayer closet and I began to write down the people that I would like to forgive me, and I wrote down the people who I shall forgive, and I wrote them a letter, and I wrote myself a letter. Some I gave, some I made a phone call to, and some of them I didn't give them anything. I just kept it. And that was the beginning. That's when I knew something was different in my life. And it probably wasn't different. This is probably the first time that I was still enough, still, STILL, like still, like ain't moving enough to truly see, feel, and hear what was happening in my life and what God was trying to tell me. And that is when I started to choose to come from being broken to unbroken. And so it took a miracle of my last baby um, to make that decision for me. Well, to be open to see, feel, and hear what was being said to me. Yeah, that was being said to me. So sometimes it's your child that does it, or sometimes it's your partner or your community. So when you do realize that you are broken and it's affecting them, and you want better for them, because you see the vision. The other day I had a conversation with one of my good girlfriends, and I said, the work that I'm doing right now, even on myself, I said, it's not just for me. This is for my 4 beautiful, beautiful queens, 3 that I birthed and my grandbaby. And the work that I'm doing for self, I'm showing them in real time what healing looks like, as well as taking accountability for the harm that I have done with them with some of my choices in life. And so that has been an amazing journey, especially with the oldest 2. It's 2 different um, 2 different journeys, but I can see the growth in both of them. And my youngest baby, she's just rolling, But my first 2, they get it. They see it, especially my oldest one. And I'm so very proud of her. And my middle baby, I'm proud of her too. She's just looking and trying to find her own voice. Um, she comes from, a mother who is very independent, who is very driven and heads, strong at times and have been controlling and is a recovering perfectionist. And my babies, they get that. My oldest one, she understands what that looks like and she's balancing it better. And my middle baby, she's in her 20s. And so she's about to, she got to figure it out. But I see it. I see her doing amazing things. And I see how she pauses sometimes. And then she'll look and say, okay, you about to tell me about the four agreements? I say, yes. Yes. And I know y'all hear me say a lot of times about the 4 agreements, but it definitely helps me to communicate with others as well as myself to make sure that I am being impeccable with my words, regardless to what other people say, and that I don't take it personal, and that I don't assume anything. That person know me, that they know my truth, and majority of them don't. And it just do my best as being a teacher, a mother, a wife, a daughter, a coach, a leader, whatever it is in life. I just do my best and hang the perfectionist up to embrace my imperfection, because that is what and who makes me, So that's what it looks like when you become unbroken. When you turn that brokenness into unbroken and you start to put those pieces together. That's what's possible. When you catch that glimpse of who you could be, and you want so badly that you are willing to do the work. And refusal. Sometimes you want to refuse to stay broken, right? Because when you look in that mirror, you say, not me, not anymore. And that refusal, what it does, it becomes a fuel to I want to be unbroken. So part of my why, it didn't start that way, but my why now is continue with the work that I'm doing on self. When I look at those 4 beautiful queens of minds, that I was blessed to have birthed 3 of them, and had the honor to be a yaya to another. You know what I'm saying? So and when I say this, I am in love with this series about the messenger is the message and the proof. Because there's so many things that are happening around me that I'm really looking at like, wow, I'm so glad that these things are coming out. And that it's time for us to have these conversations on, people judging one another and people not taking heed to what these people are saying about their growth, and they're showing their growth. That they're showing your growth. So when we talk about the messenger and journey, here's what you have to understand. Your journey from broken to unbroken, that is your message. As I'm sharing my message, you have a message that you need to share from your broken to your unbroken. Not the destination, but the journey. Because people don't need to see you perfect. They need to see you real. They need to know what it took. They need to understand that you didn't just wake up one day and say, oh, I'm transformed. But you choose to transform. You choose it over and over, day after day. Over and over, day after day. That's the message, your story there. That's what changes people. Not I'm healed. Be like me. I'm healed. Be like me. No. But I was broken, and here's what I did. And now I am unbroken. And you can do it too. And you can do it too. So real quickly before we close this affirmation, I got to go back to my baby girl, not my baby girl, but my sister girl that I was with this weekend. We had a conversation. We had a conversation on Thursday before I was flying out on Friday. And it's this thing that she was doing. And she'd been doing it for years. And I just be on the receiving end, just with my ears open. And she was explaining to me about the situation of talking to this young lady about something and that she actually do. And I said, I said, I want to tell you this, but you do that, right? She said, really, I do that? I said, yes, you do that. Oh, did I? Oh my God, that is such a bad person. I said, well, you're not a bad person. That's just a bad habit that you have. But once someone tells you about, a habit that you have, you can change it. And then she really felt bad. I said, let me explain something to you. We are a reflection of one another. We are a reflection of one another. So when you do something that triggers me as your friend, as your sister, as your community, as your reflection, because you're my reflection, I'm going to tap you on your shoulder and I'm going to acknowledge and show you what has been done. And I said, and it don't ever come from a malicious part of me. It comes from love, because we're trying to do this healing work together. Because when my reflection, when I look at you and vice versa, I want to be able to see not a perfect, but now an unbroken person. So when we have these conversations, they can be free, they can be peaceful, they can be unbroken. And she was like, girl, we was on the phone for 2 hours. And she was like, oh, yes, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. And so the weekend, started off great. It started off amazing and great. And when you come from broken to unbroken, those conversations become so much better. It becomes so much better because you are no longer coming from a broken place. You are no longer coming from a hurt place. You're coming from a whole different space. And so you're able to communicate with others. You are able to communicate with yourself so much better. And it's such a sense of freedom and release. I know people say, Nyomi, you be walking around here like it's, sunflowers and all this other good. No, it be some days that it be but then I have the tools to honor what I'm feeling at that moment. Like, okay, why I'm feeling that way, honor it, and then I'm good. Because usually it's something else in the back of my mind or something that happened that comes and it triggers it, and I have to acknowledge it and be like, okay, what was that? And then, all right, let me put some glue on it. Put some glue on it, put it back together. And that's what it is. And that's what it is. All right. All right, my beautiful people. So let's go ahead and do these closing affirmations. So I want y'all to repeat after me. I was broken. I admit it. I faced it. I got support. I did the work. I kept going. I changed my patterns. I built something new. I honored my journey in every hard step, every choice, every moment. I am not perfect. I am unbroken, and I am becoming. I am reclaimed. I am unashamed, and I am unstoppable. All right, my beautiful people, the journey from broken to unbroken is real, y'all. It's hard, it's not linear, and it takes time, but it is so possible. And your willingness to do the work is what makes you a messenger. So on Action Wednesday, we are going to identify the work that you need to do, the support that you need to get, the patterns you need to break. But this week, I want you to just sit with this. Your journey is your message. Your worth is the work that it takes. All right? So until Wednesday, this is your girl, Goddess Nyomi Banks, reminding you that you're broken. You're not broken forever. That you're broken open. And that's where the transformation happened. All right? And if you are ready to do this work deeper, to move through your own journey from broken to unbroken with guided support, Elevate Me is here for you. Phase 1 Awakening helps you to see yourself. Phase 2 and 3 will guide you through the healing transformation. So go start your healing journey today, right now, at studio.com/Nyomi. That's spelled Nyomi. And hey, if it's something in today's episode that hit home for you, I want to hear about it. Either text me or leave me a voice note using the links in the show notes, all right? All right, my beautiful people, so be good to one another and yourselves. And always keep it sexy. I want you to love yourself first so you can love others well. And don't forget to watch us on YouTube. Yes, the season of self-love, all right? Have an amazing day. Have a good one. Hey, if this episode moved you, touched you, or made you think, that's your sign to subscribe. Every Monday and Wednesday, I am right here with you doing the work. Like this video, share it with someone who needs it, and I'll see you in the next one. This is your girl, the Goddess, Nyomi Banks. Love yourself first so you can love others well. Have an amazing day. And remember, always keep it sexy.